When you think of Paris, you think of the Eiffel Tower, the River Seine, the incredible Mona Lisa.
There's the Champs-Élysées, the Musée d'Orsay. The list goes on and on, but Paris is much more than its greatest hits.
In this French Connections Plus, we'll take you to discover Paris's lesser-known tourist attractions, which are still definitely worth the trip.
And we'll fill you in on some fun facts about the French capital itself.
One neighborhood you should definitely check out on your next trip here is the area surrounding the Saint-Martin Canal, Paris's other main waterway after the Seine.
The Canal Saint-Martin is located in the northeast of the city, and it's a vibrant neighborhood full of trendy bars and cafes, making it a great place to hang out, especially on a Sunday when the roads alongside the canal are closed to cars.
We're going to find out all about the Canal Saint-Martin with Hilbren Buys. Hello.
Hello, Genie. Flo, welcome on board the Dalida.
Hilbren, thank you so much for being with us today. You're a boat captain and you give tours along the Canal Saint-Martin, where we are now with Paris Waterway. Give us a little bit of a sense of the history of the canal.
So the canal and the canal system of Paris is the result of centuries of thinking about how to bring fresh water into the burgeoning capital of France. And so really work on digging this canal, delving the canal started in 1805 and was completed in 1825. And since then we have the water flowing down from a canal called Ourcq down into a basin, which then is split up into this canal, the Canal Saint-Martin, and another one.
And then the Canal Saint-Martin flows into the Seine. But what a lot of people don't realize is actually the canal goes under the Place de la Bastille.
Yes, precisely. So from the Arsenal Basin where we are now, a tunnel extends upriver to the exposed part of the Canal Saint-Martin through a vault.
And once you get actually to the other side of the Bastille, you get into these locks that bring the boats up and down. Tell us about that.
Exactly. So that's where you enter into the locks. And because the canal comes down a hill, what you need is to have a way for this water to be stagnant enough for traffic to be able to use it, and also a way for the boats to come down the canal without coming down rapids.
The canal isn't as deep as maybe it looks, and every so often, about every 10 years, they drain it to clean it. What are some of the things that you find when you drain the water in the canal?
It's about 4 meters deep, so it doesn't look deep when it's empty, but I wouldn't try to swim down and touch the bottom. And what you'll find there, and what they dredge up when they clean it, tends to be anything that you can imagine between a ball pen and an automobile. Mopeds, a great deal of them, television sets, a heap of rubbish because the wind takes it into the canal from time to time. Rats will be found in there, live and dead.
And bodies?
And yes, indeed, forensic elements have been found from corpses to weaponry. Yes, absolutely. So there's a real treasure trove under the Canal Saint-Martin.
Hilbren, what's the neighborhood like around the Canal Saint-Martin? It's become so trendy in the past couple of years.
Yes, it's very exciting. So it's been occupied by more and more young people, sometimes with means, who've been able to shape the neighborhood in their fashion. So what you'll find is it's a nice place with many people enjoying the canal. So the canal has been really reappropriated by the population.
People have been talking a lot about swimming in the Seine around the Olympic Games, but you've actually been able to swim in the canal for quite some time.
Yes, indeed. There's a great deal of commotion about swimming in the Seine, but in the Canal Saint-Martin, especially up towards the Bassin de la Villette, where there's enough room for this, there's been swimming for years, since 2018, as far as I recall, that one could swim there quite comfortably. The reason for this is that that the water flow isn't as rapid, that the water is always clean because it comes down from a river out of the countryside with not much industry around it, and it's easy to regulate. And so.
And would you ever jump in?
Well, I'll consider it, but so far I've never found the need to jump off a perfectly good boat.
Well, thank you so much, Hilbren.
Thank you, Florence. Thank you, Genie.
That boat trip was awesome, Genie.
And there's another hidden treasure that's located right beneath your feet. And it's one many French people don't even know is there.
I only recently found out about this myself. It's a series of bronze medallions called the Arago line. It runs north to south through the capital and even goes through some famous places like the Louvre Museum.
They follow the path of the former Paris meridian that was calculated by François Arago in the 1800s. Now that line was eventually overtaken by the one in Greenwich, England, that gives us Greenwich Mean Time, the world reference today.
The Arago line is better known by its fictionalized name, the Rose Line, from Dan Brown's bestseller, The Da Vinci Code. Now, a lot of these medals have actually been damaged or stolen, but it's still fun to spot them when you're wandering around the capital.
At the start, there were 135 medallions in Paris, just one of the many intriguing numbers here in the French capital.
01 is the way phone numbers start in Paris and the Île-de-France region it's located in, unless you're calling a cell phone, which will start with 06 or 07. 2 is the number of natural islands in the city. Île de la Cité, the birthplace of the capital where Notre Dame is located, and l'Île Saint-Louis. 20 is the number of districts Paris is divided into, known as arrondissements. The 20 districts spiral outwards, clockwise from the city center, just like the shell of a snail. 37 bridges cross the river Seine in Paris. The oldest bridge is actually called the New Bridge, le Pont Neuf, which is of course also the number 9. The next bridge over is the Pont des Arts, which at one point was weighed down by 45 tons of metal from romantics leaving their love locks behind. Speaking of love, Paris is known for its love of pooches. There are 300,000 dogs. That's one canine for every 7 Parisians. That's more dogs than children. They produce 20 tons of dog poop per year. And if you don't clean it up, it's a €135 fine. Hankering for some art? Check out some of the 460,000 objects at the Louvre. The museum, which is the largest on Earth, exhibits just 38,000 pieces at a time. If you wanted to see each work of art for just 35 seconds, it would take 35 days. Here's another fun number for you, Genie. There are over 6,000 streets in Paris, so plenty to discover on a visit here. And if ever you get lost, here's a trick. The street numbers depend on the River Seine.
For streets perpendicular to the river, like the Rue de Seine, the lowest numbers are always closest to the river, and they go up as you move away from it. The even numbers are always on the right side of the street when your back is to the Seine, and this no matter which side of the river you're on.
And for streets that are parallel to the river, well, the numbers evolve with the flow of the river, so from east to west.
But don't worry if you can't figure it out. Getting lost is one of the many wonders of being in Paris.
There is one place you don't want to get lost, however, and it is a spooky place called the Catacombs. There's a darker side to Paris, far below the bustling streets above. The hidden world of the Catacombs. Here, you'll find a labyrinth of underground tunnels and ancient Roman quarries, now filled with thousands and thousands of bones.
I've never seen anything like it before, a full city of death.
It's spooky, but exceptional to be able to witness the histories.
The bones were moved here in the late 18th century, as the overflowing corpses in the capital cemeteries were contaminating the city's water. It took over 12 years to move the remains of 6 million people.
They progressively emptied the nearly 150 cemeteries located in the heart of Paris. These were public cemeteries or cemeteries associated with convents, monasteries, and churches.
Gravediggers and priests worked secretly at night to avoid upsetting locals. In 1809, the tunnels were opened to the public and became an instant hit.
I saw pictures, it's just skulls, and I plan to see for myself. Yeah.
Visitors are fascinated by the macabre arrangements of skulls and bones into crosses and columns. Just about 1 mile of the catacombs is still open to the public today. The rest of the immense labyrinth of dark, cold tunnels have been used for everything from growing Paris's famous white mushrooms to being a secret meeting place for the French resistance in World War II. Secret explorers, known as cataphiles, still sneak into the forbidden parts of the tunnels today, hosting unlawful film screenings or raves underground. To visit the part open to the public, you'll have to descend 131 steps to get in, passing under the infamous sign that says, "Stop, this is the Empire of Death."
Flo, what's your favorite fun fact about Paris?
Well, one of the most beautiful places to visit in Paris is actually France's oldest public toilet. It's still functioning and totally worth a visit. It was created in 1905 under Place de la Madeleine, and at the time it was a ladies' toilet. Now it's unisex. So if you fancy doing a number 1 or a number 2 in a beautiful Belle Époque location, you know where to go.
Staying with the ladies, I just learned that there was a ban on women wearing trousers in Paris that only got lifted in 2013.
As surprising as it may be, les Parisiennes had to ask the police for authorization to be able to wear pants unless they were riding a bicycle or on a horse. And this was a weird legacy from the French Revolution. It did become obsolete, but it was only repealed officially recently. Jeannie, what's your favorite fact?
Well, Flo, did you know that the Bloody Mary was invented right here in Paris?
I did not.
The famous hangover drink made of tomato juice and vodka was created in the 1920s at Harry's Bar, which was a hangout for expat writers like F. Scott Fitzgerald or Ernest Hemingway. Legend has it that Hemingway was dating a woman named Mary at the time, and he wanted the bartender to come up with a drink that would mix together juice with vodka to mask the smell of alcohol in the morning.
And apparently when he would drink it, he would say Bloody Mary.
I'll drink to that. Well, that wraps it up for today's show. Thanks so much for watching.
And don't forget, you can always reach us on social media. You can tweet me at Villeminot.
And we'll see you soon for the next edition of French Connections Plus.